Jonathan Leavridge's Investigates, we are going to talk about Bryan Kohberger and his whereabouts on the day of 11/13/2022. Bryan Kohberger charged with the stabbings of 4 innocent college students in Moscow, Idaho. Murders happened around 4 a.m. to 4:25 a.m. on the early morning hours of the 13th. If you read the affidavit of probable cause, which got released to the media and public, you will see some key information inside of it. And I'm going to share something with you. I'm going to share what the affidavit said about where Bryan Kohberger was on the afternoon of 11/13/2022. So he committed the murders, allegedly, 4 a.m. to 4:25 a.m. The affidavit of probable cause says he was back around the Moscow home around 9-ish in the morning. Then he seems like he headed south on Highway 95 to Clarkston, Washington. Clarkston, Washington. About 35 minutes away. South. But he was down there. Check this timeline out. So according to the affidavit of probable cause against Bryan Kohberger, at 12:36 p.m. on 11/13/2022, his cell phone shows it was near Kate's Cup of Joe coffee stand in Clarkston, Washington. The surveillance footage from the nearby Chef store shows a white Hyundai Elantra drive past the coffee stand. This was 12:36 p.m. Sunday, November 13th. Then, according to the affidavit of probable cause, Bryan Kohberger's cell phone pings near Albertson's grocery store in Clarkston. Video footage from Albertsons shows Kohberger exiting the Elantra at 12:49 p.m. and interior cameras capture him walking through the store, purchasing items at the checkout, then leaving the store at about 1:04 p.m. Clarkston, Washington. And on that day, 11/13/2022, Sunday, between 5:36 and 8:30 p.m., Bryan Kohberger's phone stops reporting to a network during this time. That is the final mention the affidavit gives of Kohberger's alleged movements on November 13th. His phone just went off, similar to how it went off up in Moscow for an extended period of time in the middle morning. Where was Bryan at? Was he in the Clarkston, Washington area? And what was he doing? What was his purpose there? Was he plotting to do something else? Now the question is, what was Bryan doing down in Clarkston, Washington? And why did his phone go off? And where did it go off at? Was he plotting someone else down there after he allegedly did these 4 stabbings up in Moscow? Was he trying to go down to Clarkston and do the same thing to some victims down there? Victims group. There is a community college down there, Walla Walla Community College, right next door in Lewiston, Idaho. There is Lewis and Clark College. Was he plotting something down there, or randomly going to do something to someone down there before heading back home to Pullman, Washington? Why did he go all the way down there? Albertsons, cup of coffee. What was his purpose down there, and why did his phone not ping for an extended period of time, similar to what happened in Moscow? So that's interesting. Does anyone know? Does anyone have an idea on why Bryan was down there in Clarkston, Washington? Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button. I want to hear from you. I saw the affidavit and I'm just dumbfounded a little bit about him zigzagging all over the place during this time period. But he was down in Clarkston and his phone also stopped registering. So maybe he put it on airplane mode, turned it off, and he was plotting something else. I wonder if there's any unsolved crimes down there. Probably no murders because we would all know about it, but interesting, right? Everyone be safe. God bless. Justice for the victims and their families.